Let's have a brief look at the history of this whole concept of strategic planning, because that will give us some inputs, it will give us some insight on how it can be used in a better way in industry. Strategic planning really began in the military area, right? See, the military commander ultimately is there on the field or on a particular in a particular battle area, a zone. He has an objective, right? And that objective is to be fulfilled. The objective might be to that there is a link between two rivers, for instance, and that link is to be cut, right? That is the objective. Now, how is that going to be done? That is the strategy which he is going to work on. Now, this is how this whole concept of strategy started off. If you look at what is the strategy, the military commander's strategy, what does it depend on? It depends on the resources available with him. Now, how many men does he have with him? How much firepower does he have with him, right? Does he have aerial support? Will he be given other for tank support, for instance, right? Now, these are the resources which are available with the commander. Then there is a question of the resources available with the enemy, right? Is the enemy at the forefront of the army, or is the enemy part of a large military formation? In case he is part of a large military formation, then he could draw on resources indefinitely, right? This is a very critical area for the military commander. Then there is the question of what is the possible enemy response likely to be. First of all, there is the question of will the enemy respond at all, right? It depends on what you think or what the commander thinks is the enemy's strategy. How important is that link to the enemy? Is it important enough to him to commit resources to it? If it is important enough, then how will he react? When will he react? Right? These are the questions which the military commander has to address. Then there is a question of when to attack. If he is decided on an attack, what is the appropriate time for that attack, right? This depends again on several issues. Some of the issues relating to his internal matters, and some issues relating to the external environment. Finally, the plan must have a contingency, right? There must be a plan B, in other words. If the original plan at some point shows that it is not going to work, then what are the options available to the military commander at that point? Okay? So, this is how the concept of strategy evolved. Now, if you look at how these concepts, how these factors can be applied to an industrial situation, you will find that there is a very, very close parallel. Resources available with the company, resources available with competition, possible competitive response, the ideal time to launch that strategic move, and continuous review of the strategy implementation to ensure that the contingency strategy can be used if required. So, strategy really came up from the military arena. We've seen earlier that there is a hierarchy of planning, right? We looked at various kinds of plans. Now, if you look at a typical company, you would find the board at the top, and then you would find senior management, and then middle management, junior management, and operating staff, right? Now, let's look at planning and let's look at decision making. At the level of the board, what is the plan that the board makes? The plan that the board makes is the vision of the company. Vision, what is the basic purpose of the company's existence? That is the plan that the board works on. What is the decision that the board works on? The decision is the mission statement, right? The mission statement really converts this vision into a more concrete objective. Now, let's come to the next level, which is the level of senior management. The senior management is concerned with long-term plan, right? The long-term plan is related to the vision. It's also related to the mission. The decision equivalent of the long-term plan are strategic decisions. The senior management makes long-term plans and it makes strategic decisions. Strategic decisions, as we saw earlier, were long-term decisions. Now we come to the middle management. At the level of the middle management, the plan that they make is a short-term plan. Now this short-term plan takes inputs from the long-term plan. It also takes inputs from strategic decisions that have been made. As we saw earlier, the short-term plan may well diverge from the long-term plan at a particular point in time for a short period, but it is absolutely imperative that the short-term plan must merge with the long-term plan in the long run. Now, the junior management looks after short-term planning, and when it comes to decisions, they look after functional decisions, right? Now, functional decisions are decisions where the broad strategic decision is broken up into various departmental issues. When you come to the operating staff are not involved directly in planning or in decision making. The operating staff are involved in execution, right? Now, this is the hierarchy of planning, and this hierarchy of planning formed the bedrock of planning in industry for a long period of time. However, in today's environment, which is a rapidly changing environment, the operating staff who are at the forefront of the company's interaction with the environment and therefore are the ones who see those changes first, the changes in the environment, the operating staff must be involved in the planning function. Not involving the operating staff in the planning function is a major mistake in today's environment.